Oh, let me get the great graphic. There we go. The Hall of Famer joins us. Happy midweek, everybody. I feel like a good theme for this show today, Rick, is silver linings, meaning even though the Golden State Warriors lost to the best team in the NBA currently, there's some good news. Seth Curry had a fantastic debut. De'Anthony Melton is set to make his debut tomorrow. Those are two valuable additions for your Golden State Warriors. There's also a lot of news in the NBA that may have a direct correlation to your Golden State Warriors, and that involves Giannis Antetokounmpo, maybe Chris Paul. I don't know if that one has much of a connection, but above all else, it's one of the greatest to ever do it, Rick Barry. He was just in town celebrating the 50th anniversary of the 1975 Golden State Warriors. What does that hat say, sir? I'm sorry, I missed that.
The hat?
The cardiac
kid. Cardiac Kids. That's the name of the documentary.
Oh, beautiful. We'll talk about that and so much more. The Hall of Famer Rick Barry, one of the greatest to ever do it, joins yours truly. And Rick, I'm going to also ask you really quickly about Stan Van Gundy's comments. If you missed that, he had some words that may or may not be interpreted as disparaging towards the older generation. Let's talk about it. This program, it's called The Golden Days, and it's powered by FanDuel. Let's go. Yeah, let's go and do this. Welcome, everybody. You can follow Rick Barry on all social media platforms with one simple handle. Rick is a master of pretty much everything he's involved with, and that includes marketing. Why have a lot of different handles when you could just have one for all of them? Rick24Barry. That's it. That's the easiest way to find Rick on Instagram, Threads, Twitter, you Facebook, you name it. That's the handle. It's at Rick24Barry. And this program is sponsored by FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Golden Days, of the Believe Network as a whole. And while I have the sportsbook open real fast, I was curious to see if the line for tomorrow's Warriors Philadelphia 76ers line was available. It is not yet, but FanDuel is going to be the first one to publish that as soon as it becomes available. But more importantly, I have the Hall of Famer with me right now, Rick Barry. Rick, how are you doing, sir? Great to see you.
Yeah, well, I'm doing good. I'm just hoping that the Warriors get their act together. Like we always say, if you're going to have your problems, you want to have your problems early in the season, not late in the season. So you have a lot of time to try to work it out. I mean, it's not like they're in dire straits right now. They did win a few games that they should have been able to win. And now they're trying to find out, Steve's trying to find out, who's going to be a consistent player. See, we've talked about this so often over the years. Consistency is what you want if you're a coach and a player. You want a guy to be a consistent player. Know that he's going to show up and you're going to get X, Y, XYZ from him on a consistent basis. Sometimes it's only X and sometimes it's XY, but most of the time you get XYZ. And that's what you want. I mean, just like, last night, I mean, Kenyon doesn't get to play in there, but yeah, he's 3 for 10. I mean, it's hard to play a guy who's 3 for 10. I mean, hell, even I got taken out of Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals when I was like 2 for 12 or 14, and Al Laddles took me the hell out of the game. I mean, so Jonathan shouldn't feel badly. He wasn't playing well. I mean, if you're not playing well, you shouldn't expect to play. So
I think the devil's advocate counter argument to that would be, well, the third quarter he was actually fantastic, and he was part of the comeback that turned this from a 63, 44 halftime score to suddenly a real game in the fourth quarter. And Kuminga, who was second on the team in rebounds with 7, got rewarded for that third quarter effort with the fourth quarter DNP. But Rick, I think fans were even more upset in regards to the Kuminga fourth quarter, just no-show thanks to the coaching staff's decision. Then Pat Spencer, who was the co-leader for scoring, getting yanked from this game with just shy of 4 minutes remaining, and the Warriors still very much in this one. A lot more fans, I think, cared about that. But Rick, did you get a chance to hear the question I asked Steve Kerr the same day you were in town? Because he was at the podium right before you and your 75 teammates came up. And I thought the question was very apropos, in line with what you talk about routinely, and that's consistency. And I asked him his thoughts on the fact that last year they had 37 different starting lineups. 2 years ago, they had, I think, 28 different starting lineups. This year, they're 22 games into the season, and I think they've had 10 different starting lineups. It's either 9 or 10. And he just sidestepped it. He does what he does. He's a media savant, called himself a socialist, and then said he likes to tinker. That was his answer. I don't think this never-ending tinkering is wise. It doesn't represent consistency. What are your thoughts on that?
Tinkering is good when it works. But if it's not working, then you need to change things. I mean, that's just life in general. I mean, everybody like football, they always have a big game plan going in. And basketball, you have your plan. How's how you get it? Well, if it's not working, you got to change it. And so, I mean, that's his decision. If he doesn't like the way a guy's playing or the way things are going, with the success that he's had over the years, it's pretty hard to say, well, hey, the guy doesn't know what he's doing. But there comes a time when, your tinkering doesn't work that well. I mean, they're talking about it now in football, with what's his name from the Pittsburgh Steelers with their coach, that maybe it's time for him to leave. Yeah. I mean, so anyway, it's always easy to speculate when they're outside. You don't see these guys at practice. You don't see the way that they conduct themselves. You don't know them the way the coach knows them. Okay, and the coaching staff knows them. And they make their decisions based on that. Now, you can go as much as you want with the analytics, which has gotten to be almost crazy to a point. Like too much of anything is not that good. And then sometimes you just have to go with your gut. And, sometimes your gut will work really well and sometimes it won't. And obviously the decisions that he made, people had a right to be able to be concerned about that. I mean, Kuminga wasn't shooting well. Yeah, he had a nice third quarter and all, but he didn't like what he saw for whatever reason. And then, he takes the other player out is leading the team in scoring, and he didn't like the fact that Spencer was doing what he was doing, and he thought another lineup would be there. But that's the coach, and so obviously he made choices that didn't work for him last night, and so he has to accept that. And Steve usually accepts that. I mean, he made the choices. The choices didn't work, and they just have to start making better choices. But also, it would be nicer if he knew that he had players. And I don't know why he wouldn't answer the question. I would say, hell yeah, I want consistent players. I don't want guys to get me 25 one night and 5 the next, if given the same opportunity. I'd rather have a guy that gets me 15 both nights.
No disagreement there, sir. As normal, as is par with your takes. I value them tremendously. Rick, you were in town last week. It was great to see you. Describe from your perspective what the experience was like being with your teammates from the 75 team. You're wearing the hat that's going to be the title of your documentary. I did not know that was going to be the title until literally just now. The Cardiac Kids, is that what they're calling it?
Yeah. Charles Dudley's the one that got it. He's the one that got the hats made up, and I guess it's at a film festival now. And I was hoping to get a fight. I haven't seen it yet. I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I've heard good things about it so I'm really excited when that's going to happen. Hopefully it'll happen sometime before the year is over, but we don't have much time left. And, maybe it's not a great time to do it now. It's Christmas time. People are so wrapped up in so many other things. I would have thought that a great time to have it come out would have been, right during the playoffs or so. I don't know, whatever it is. I mean, it's at least it's made and it's going to be seen and it's done. So that's a good thing. But yeah, it's always great. It's like a family reunion, really, because you really are like a family. You spend more time with your teammates during the course of an NBA season to do with your family if you're married with kids. It's just the reality of it. You're on the road, you're together all the time, you're traveling there, you're at practice, you're doing that. You don't see your kids all that much. Even when you're home, you hardly see your kids because, if you have a chance to sleep in, you don't have practice, you're trying to get some rest. The kids are up and off to school. You don't even hardly see them until later in the day, maybe for a little bit. So it's nice to have that kind of reality. I think the person that stated it best was George Johnson. George said, it's really great to get together. If I closed my eyes and I didn't look to see how old we are, it would be like we were the same as we were back 50 years ago. I mean, nothing really changed. Everybody's kind of the same as a person, where everybody's really, we had a great relationship as a team back then. And he said it really feels just like being together again back when we had this amazing experience together. And to have accomplished what we accomplished, it was so special that I'm sure the other guys would feel the same way. We all were talking about it, that it's a memory that will last us our lifetime. I mean, it's just, there's certain things in life that you can't really use words to describe. And words just are inadequate. I mean, watching some of my children being born, I mean, how am I supposed to say in words what that meant to me, the feeling that I had, winning the championship and the way that we did it. It's something you have to experience the emotion of it, but to try to properly express it using words sometimes is very difficult because the words just seem to be good enough because it's such an incredible feeling.
Sorry, I was muted there. I think your effort in trying to come up with the words would suffice, sir. I think everything you've said and done so far is masterful. On that note, talking about, I feel like this is a good time to shift gears. And Brooklyn opinion in the chat. I'll get to your pay chats in just a second. I see them, but I want to shift gears for 1 second because you brought up being teammates. And the fact that you're practically living with this person, their family to a certain extent, because of the amount of time again that you're around them, and just your life completely revolves with these other human beings. The Chris Paul story, and you and I were talking before we started recording, and you have not followed this, so this is going to be I'm going to enlighten you and everyone else who is similarly not in touch with the latest developments that started late last night. Again, the Warriors game was on Peacock, and these games, unfortunately, started 8 p.m. So, Rick, I imagine you were fast asleep, probably by the time the game tipped off, let alone when it finished. So we had a very late show last night. Show ends around 12:30 Pacific time, 3:30 your time. You're in Florida right now, I believe. I hope I'm correct on that. And I'm wrapping things up, and then my feed, or no, it was the show. It was right at the end of the show, so we were still live, and the chat suddenly is filled with all these people going, "Wait, Chris Paul is just got waived, just got let go," and then you learn about.
I didn't read about it, but I heard that they were letting Chris Paul go. Yeah.
And so the details of it are wild, and I'll try to fill in all the important information here the best I can. Essentially, what's been going on for 3 weeks now, 2 to 3 weeks approximately, is Chris Paul, who anyone who follows basketball knows I don't think abrasive is the right word, but he's vocal. He's known as a leader. He's known for someone who will speak his mind. He's certainly a communicator. Him and Ty Lue, the head coach of the Clippers, were not on speaking terms. And apparently Chris Paul said something that offended Ty Lue, where he felt disrespected. Chris Paul tried to communicate with Ty Lue to resolve the issue. Ty Lue would not even speak with Chris Paul. And that was the beginning of the end. And last night, the team, this was courtesy of Chris Haynes reporting on the story. Last night, the team was stuck in Miami for 6 hours because they had mechanical issues with the plane. So apparently the players are stuck on this flight, sitting on the tarmac while the plane's getting resolved. They get into Atlanta, I think at like 4 a.m. or something like that. And when they get to the hotel, that's when Chris Paul was notified, you're out. You're no longer with the team. And that's where we are now. Chris Paul's still technically with the team because the Clippers have to resolve the contractual situation. They can't just cut him due to roster spaces needing to be filled, due to CBA rules. But so we don't know what the actual resolution is going to be. But the fact that Ty Lue and Chris Paul were just not even speaking, Rick, I mean, you're one of the greatest to ever do this. You've been in locker rooms. Describe your experience, if any, with a situation like this, and what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I've never heard of something like that happening with such a name player. I mean, I've heard problems and all, but to have it happen on the road, and then, I mean, what do you do with them? I mean, are they coming home after the game in Atlanta? That'll be a real fun ride back in the plane, I guess.
Well, I think they're going to play tonight. They're playing tonight, I believe. That's
but then are they coming home after that game? And
I'll let you know right now.
Then they're going to have to put him on another flight back to Los Angeles. But
Chris is already out, as far as I know. Yes, Chris is gone. That's crazy.
He got on a plane and went home, I guess.
Yes. He's no longer with the team.
Well, sports is crazy. I mean, crazy things like this happen all the time. I mean, once you have a player and a coach at odds with one another, here's the thing that's scary. If he weren't so old, Ty Lue would probably be on the plane going home.
Good point.
I mean, seriously. If he weren't at the end of his career and he was still the Chris Paul that we knew about, 5 years or more ago, and this situation were to have arisen, I really believe that it would have been Ty Lue that would have been in trouble as far as having a job, without question. It
is crazy, and so that's the Chris Paul Ty Lue situation. The Clippers, by the way,
I don't know the story. We don't know what happened. I don't know what Chris Paul said, whatever was being done, but it had to be something pretty severe for a coach to take that position to go in and for management to back him. So it had to be something that they were really not happy with. But I think the bottom line of it is that if Chris Paul were playing at a super high level and the team were playing really well, doing things, this would have been resolved some way or another.
Yeah.
But when things are not going well, the proverbial ant, don't make a mountain out of an anthill. Well, the anthill becomes a mountain all of a sudden, and this has now become a big thing. And there's no doubt in my mind that because of Chris Paul's situation in his career, and at the end of his career, it was easier to make this decision.
The Clippers currently mired in a 5-game losing streak, and they're also just in the start of a 5-game road trip. The Miami game was one of 5. So
there you go.
It's insane. And just to finish up with everything else I know, apparently Lawrence Frank, the GM of the Clippers, it was his idea to sign Chris Paul. This was supposed to be a retirement tour, and that's part of the reason why this picked up as much as it did last night, is because Chris Paul, like this final year with the Clippers, was in a lot of ways ceremonial. Again, because his jerseys, the Clippers have never retired a jersey, which is a crazy fact that I did not know until I learned about this story. And there's
look at the Clippers history.
Yeah.
How many jerseys do you want to retire?
Well, that's again, and that's why this is such a story in and of itself, because Chris Paul is likely going to be the first player to ever have his jersey retired by that organization. And this is how.
Maybe not now.
And then supposedly Blake Griffin will be the other players.
Yeah, I mean,
the
Clipper. It's the Clippers. You know what? Let's call it the revenge of Donald Sterling.
The ghost of Donald still haunts the place. This is if you're a Warriors fan, be grateful you are not have any emotional investment with the Clippers.
That franchise was so screwed up. I honestly, at one time when I was doing coaching, I actually tried to talk to the Clippers and stuff. And so I went to Donald Sterling and because I knew Donald Sterling, and I went to Donald to talk to him about it. Oh no, Elgin handles all of that. You need to talk to him, because I was doing Clipper games when Brent was there. I was actually doing color commentary on Clipper games, and so I went to Elgin. Elgin said, "I don't make those decisions. You got to go to Donald Sterling." I mean, the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing. It was such a great situation. Yeah.
Oh, the great Elgin Baylor, brother. You were close
to
them,
this is another chapter in the long story of the history of the Los Angeles Clippers.
Unbelievable.
What's this thing about Giannis? What was about Giannis? What's happened with him?
So I'm so sorry. This is the year you made me laugh hard there. Sorry. Well, and just to finish up, apparently Chris Paul was a Lawrence Frank idea. And Ty Lue, look, he's a well-established head coach. Chris Paul has a lot of strong opinions of his own. I wouldn't surprise you if Chris Paul becomes a head coach at some point in the near future. Now, Giannis. Now we shift gears to that, and that's not funny at all. That's just an NBA story that I don't know where it's going to end. But apparently, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Shams Charania of ESPN has been doing a lot of reporting on this this morning. He's done. He wants out. A day or two ago, he cleared out his social media channels with any imagery connecting him to the Bucks, his lifelong team.
Wow,
they're 8-8 with him this season. I think they're 1-5 without him this season. They recently lost to the Wizards, and I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back. He wants out, and during the offseason, apparently the Bucks and the Knicks came close to a trade, but the Knicks just didn't have the pieces at that time to make it a reality. And those same pieces that they couldn't move will reportedly be able to be moved, if I make sense, apologies for the grammar there, on December 15th. So if Giannis is going to go to the Knicks, it'll be December 15th. But a lot of Warriors fans, I think, are dreaming, fantasizing about Giannis to the Warriors. None of us have insights about that. Who knows how realistic that is? But Giannis does love Steph. He does have an affinity for the San Francisco Bay Area. And it might be a pipe dream, but your thoughts, Rick?
Well, what are they going to have to give up to get him?
Well, that's a big one. I opened up the trade machine last night, and you'd most likely have to get a third team involved. You'd likely be sacrificing every young piece. So Kuminga, Moody, Buddy Hield would have to go for salary reasons, although I don't think anyone's going to miss him. No disrespect. Brandon Pajemski. You'd have to give up a lot, but you'd have the core, and this would represent a true final run for a title.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, if you bring him into the equation, depending upon who's left, and then picking up some other people, and depending upon how all those people play, well, then that's a huge gamble. I mean, but a player of his caliber, I mean, he still has a number of years left, obviously. So that's not a bad thing. It would just be a matter of what you have to give up. And anybody of all the people you just mentioned, is there anybody there that you say this team can't do without?
No, I would sign off on that trade. Me personally,
I mean, right now, who's there? Who is there that you can say, I don't want to let him go? He's our future. Who is the future of the Golden State Warriors right now?
Nobody's saying that about Giannis Antetokounmpo. Like if Giannis is available, you give up the farm, right? I mean, especially if you compare him with Steph, you figure out the rest after that. But yeah, that'll be. But again, the question then becomes, can the Warriors, offer the same kind of packages other teams out there, like, whether it's a Minnesota, a San Antonio. I mean, there's a lot of teams out there with a lot of assets. Hell, the Thunder.
I mean, that would be the craziest thing in the world to send them to San Antonio. They got
which would not be an impossibility. They have so many draft picks stockpiled. They have so many young assets.
They have things that they could give up to do it. But why would you want to bring him there when you got a budding star, guy developing is going to be one of the great players in the game? I just don't understand that, how you want to do that. We saw what happened with the Rockets when they wanted to go with the Twin Towers. That didn't work out as well for them as they would have hoped.
True.
So yeah,
but Rick, there's an antithesis to that. There's another side to that, and that's the Spurs. Their Twin Towers did work with David Robinson and Tim Duncan. That's what I would envision in terms of the reasoning behind why you do it. Is if you bring Giannis in, I mean, you're practically guaranteeing a championship. There's no guarantees in life. I get that, but your odds are astronomically high to achieve that mark. And then you're giving the kid Wemby championship experience, right? Or am I not being logical here? What are your thoughts?
I mean, that's them. I'm sure that they're probably giving it some serious consideration if they want to do that and bring him in because they could play together. Because one of them he likes to go outside occasionally. I'm talking about Giannis, which he should stay inside more because that's his game. But whereas Wemby can play outside, Wemby could be a factor for him. I mean, that would be really interesting to see people trying to get to the basket there. I mean, you want to talk about your defense and protect it, but here's the deal: the game has changed now. You don't worry about. You'd rather have a guy going in and scoring 2 points than killing you with 3-pointers. Because I was just doing some looking. Do you know how high the percentage is, and why I've talked about it before? How the 3-point game has just taken over the entire success of any team. You can't win a championship without it. If a team outshoots another team from 3-point range by 5 percentage points and all, they win. That team wins 80% of the games. 80% of the games. It's been as high as that. And depending upon where it is, but it's still really 70% high percentage. The team that wins the 3-point game generally wins the game on a very, very high percentage. It's come down.
Rick, you want to know why that figures out 100%? Is because of a team called the Houston Rockets, who own the #1 offense in the NBA, not following the 3-point strategy. They're following let's get Kevin Durant out there as our small forward. Let's have Jabari Smith at 7 feet be our shooting guard. And let's pound teams into oblivion, setting records for offensive rebounding percentages and easy putbacks. And that's working too. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, that's whatever works. You do whatever you can to work.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the whole thing. Is that if you've got something that people can't deal with, and and you can win games, you want to go and do it. But the interesting one, I think, the Dallas Mavericks are 28-0 when they outscore their opponents from 3-point range. Some crazy statistic.
Ooh. Yeah, just like how the Warriors are.
I had pulled them up. I was looking at them earlier today, knowing I was going to come on with you. And I think Dallas is one of the ones. The other team that is pretty balanced, and that's because they got the Joker doing stuff, and he passes on the back cuts and all the stuff, is the Maverick. The Nuggets are pretty much almost like 50-50. If they don't outscore, they still win a lot of games. Yeah. And so if you have a well-rounded offense, you don't have to necessarily do it to be a champion and to win. And I tell you, the Nuggets are starting to become a team from a few years back. They're getting their bench back. They're getting some depth on their team. And, and the Joker keeps putting up triple doubles all the time. Even though they lost the other game, he still had another triple double. But, yeah, I think you want to have a well-balanced game, but the reality of it is you're not going to win a championship without having three-point shooting at a high. You have to be able to shoot the three-point shot in order to win championships in the NBA. I mean, it's just come down to that. Defensively, I think only 2 teams have won championships outside of the top 10 in defense. So defense is important. You're not going to win championship because you're a great defensive team, but it enhances your chances of doing so if you have a good offense. That's what I look at it. This whole saying, defense wins championships is bullshit, because without defense you have not a chance of winning, but it doesn't win for you. I mean,
right.
I'm sorry, but offense, you still have to outscore the freaking opponent. Okay, let's face it.
And don't mistake what I said about the Rockets as them being strictly a two-dimensional, just all they do is rely on size. They do have Kevin Durant, who's a lethal three-point shooter. Their second-year player, Reed Shepherd, the former number 2 pick, is emerging as a very legitimate three-point shooter. Circling back to the Warriors, Seth Curry makes his debut last night, misses 1 shot total. He was our FanDuel player of the game, rightfully so. Again, 6 of 7 shooting, 14 points in that game. Career-wise, he's a 43% three-point shooter, shot 45%.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah, better than Steph. And I just, my only question with Seth was, why did it take so long to sign him? Like, why did you not prioritize him and get him on board from the beginning of the season? I mean, this is Stephen Curry's brother, for Christ's sakes. I didn't understand that at all, but nonetheless, he's in the fold now. Better late than never. And look, Joe Lacob is a showman, and maybe this is all by design, where he can sense, oh, look, it's December. People are starting to lose interest. Our team's 500. Let's add a spark. Seth, get in there. It's almost like pro wrestling. And then De'Anthony Melton is going to make his debut tomorrow at the start of a 3-game road trip. The Warriors are going to play the Philadelphia 76ers, Cleveland Cavaliers, Chicago Bulls. The De'Anthony Melton news is very exciting to me. I don't know how much research you've done on these 2 new players, but it's great news in my book, regardless of how diminutive they are in size.
Well, it's impressive that Seth would do that. Was he working out with the team? I mean, what was the deal?
No.
To be in that kind of condition, to come in and play 14 minutes and be able to do that, he's credit to him for keeping himself in playing shape.
Yes, sir.
I mean, because I'm telling you, there's being in shape, and then there's being in shape to play an NBA game.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. It was music to my eyes. I don't know how I screwed that one up, but yeah. So that's
music to your ears.
I know, but exactly. But I don't know if Bob Fitzgerald is music to my ears. That's why I screwed that one up. But nonetheless, and so that's what's to come for the Golden State Warriors. But it does beg a question, Rick, and this is a philosophical one, basketball wise. What are your thoughts on, and look, I know the easy answer is Steve Kerr's the coach. He's going to do what he thinks is best. If you were the coach, would you ever, I mean, I know the personnel dictates who you play and your style and all that stuff, but 4-guard lineups, there are times where we see 5-guard lineups. So what I mean by that is Jimmy Butler's playing center. He left the game, side note, last night halfway through with knee soreness. He's been having issues with his shoes falling off, and last night the shoe fell off again, and this time it accompanied with a limp, and he tweaked his knee apparently in that process. What's your thoughts on that philosophy? Because Kerr's doing that a lot. It's drawing the ire of the fan base. Would you ever in a million years throw out 5-guard lineups out there?
It's hard to say. I mean, it all depends upon what I thought about the players that I had and how they were playing. I think small ball could be good at certain times. I mean, we've seen the Warriors get crushed because of the offensive rebounds they gave up. Hell, in the game when I was out there with the team against Portland, I mean, they gave up 21 offensive rebounds. They had a 14-point lead in the third quarter, I think, and wound up losing it, and they got crushed on the boards, and then they got crushed on the boards again in another loss. 25 offensive rebounds, I think they gave up. You can't afford. When you play the game and looking at it, I mean, things have changed. As I say, it used to be, don't let them beat you with easy baskets, make them beat you from the perimeter. Well, now you got to stop the perimeter, but you also don't want to give up other easy baskets. And part of the easy baskets are fast break opportunities, not getting back on defense and giving them easy baskets in transition. And the other one is offensive boards. And so you have to control those 3 things. You have to not give them good, easy, open looks at threes, not give them second chance opportunities and easy baskets in transition. If you focus your defense on those 3 areas and do a reasonable job there, you're going to be in most of the games that you play, unless you totally suck offensively. You're going to be in the game. And that's an area that you're going to get crushed when you're playing small ball if you have a team that's aggressive going to the boards. And it's hurt the Warriors this year. We've seen it. It's not a good thing. Now, it can work sometimes against certain teams in certain situations, but I'm not a big fan of it for extended periods of time. I still like the big guy. I still like to have a more diversified offense. I think it can create more opportunities for you. I do think that one of the teams get into trouble is they start jacking up bad threes. It's not so many how many threes you shoot, is what's the quality of the shot that you take.
And that's where, and I'm not putting you in a position to answer this. This is just my personal opinion. The Buddy Hield minutes, I don't understand the justification of that, and I really hope Seth, and now with De'Anthony Melton on board, it gives Kerr a different option to go with, because Buddy's shooting, I think, below 30% from 3 on the year. We're past the quarter waypoint of the season. How much leeway can a guy get before, do we wait till April?
If you're shooting on the 30%, you shouldn't be on the court.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that's a statistic that is, it speaks for itself. I mean, you're shooting either whatever the percentage is, that's what you're shooting. And to me, the turning point is that no player should ever be taking a 3-point shot if he's not at the minimum 30%. Okay, which is,
and he might be right at 30, but it's dipped below 30.
I'm just saying that's the minimum. Yeah. I mean, minimum. If you're shooting below 30%, you have no business, unless the shot clock's running out and you have to throw a ball up. You should never be taking a 3-point shot. And even at the 3, it's questionable, because that's like 44 or 45% shooting from 2s, which is okay. But if you're going to take a lot of 3s, you want to be up to 33, because 33 is 50% from 2s, right? When you're shooting, I recite that all the time, sir, and I credit you. That's crazy shooting. That's actually crazy shooting.
Agreed.
So anyway, it's here's the thing: is I think that every time you do something as a coach, you have to evaluate what you've done, go look at it and see what's worked. And if it's not working, you got to come up with another way to try. You have to try something else. Like what's the definition of Einstein? Insanity: doing the same thing over and over again, the same way, expecting a different result. Right? And
yes, sir.
And so if the result is not coming out as a positive result, well, then you have to stop doing that.
100% agreed. You're being too logical, sir. You're gonna twist some people's minds.
Again, here's the thing. I just know, having been there, he knows his players better than the fans know the players. You only see what you see out there on the court doing it. You don't see them. You don't know their work ethic. You don't know a lot of the little intricacies and the finer things about them. And a coach understands that, and he's had such great success and brought so many championships here. And right now,
I know
he doesn't. Okay, you have to play the cards that you're dealt, and unfortunately, he's been dealt crappy cards. But that's why you want to be a good bridge player, not a poker player, a bridge player. A bridge player, if you've ever played bridge is really, you get good and bad hands, and the great bridge players are great at playing their bad hands. A coach has to be good at playing bad hands.
I hear you. And going back to what you said about knowing your personnel and being there, whereas other people can't see it, a part of my consternation, and this isn't a question, just my opinion, is what I hear repeatedly is there is a drastic separation between the coaches and the players in terms of communication, and there's no communication. I feel like communication is what would solve nearly every issue we have in life. Case in point, the Clippers. I don't understand why Ty Lue was just decided to close the door on Chris Paul. Like, why not just talk to the man, resolve this thing? That was the weirdest part in that whole story to me. Was
it Chris happens Paul, all the time, Cyrus? It happens all the time.
It does.
Right. Lack of communication is why we have wars. Lack of communication is why there's so many divorces. Lack of communication is it's one of the most important things in life. People have to do it. You cannot just not talk about things. If something comes up, you have to figure it. I tell young people when they get married, look, never go to bed without resolving an issue. If you have an issue between yourself and your spouse, you have to resolve it before you go to bed. Otherwise, the proverbial mountain, out of a molehill. I mean, that's what happens. I said an anthill before, but it's a molehill. And so it's critical to have a relationship. Just the same way, like when I was coaching, and say you're my team. So Cyrus, you were playing, you used to come off the bench, you're playing 15, 18 minutes a game. We play the next game and I don't play you. You're the first guy I'm going to after the game is over. Cyrus, hey, don't worry about it. Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't get to play you. It's just that the way things were going, I just felt that this is a better thing. Now it's easier for me to do that to you if we won. Right. If we lose, it said, hey, I might come to you and say, Cyrus, I thought I was going the other way. To be honest with you, I effed up. Okay. And I should have put you in and I didn't. I would honestly say that. I said I should have put you in and I didn't. That's on me. I apologize for that. You should have played. I just thought this was going to work better. It didn't work. Now, if it works, I can come to you and say, I just felt it was that way, but it's nothing. You didn't do anything wrong. I just saw things and I just wanted to play you. So I just want you to know it's okay. Now, you can go home and be PO'd at me for not playing you. Okay. Not so much if we won. Okay, but if we lost, you have every right to be upset with me somewhat. But you have to respect the fact that I came to you to tell you about what the hell happened. And you're not going home wondering, what did I do? And I try to tell sometimes when my boys, when they were playing, I said, did you go talk to the coach? Especially when John was playing with the Warriors at times. I mean, he was really good coming off the bench he hadn't played for a while. And it was during the time that Sprewell was playing, all the issues going on with him and all. And he never got spoken to and told why he was not playing all of a sudden. You have to communicate with your players.
Yes.
You have to tell them what's going on, what's happening. You got to keep their heads on straight.
I could not agree with you more. And just like you said, sorry to be an echo here, but the vast majority of the issues we see in this world, whether it's personal, whether it's on a micro or macro scale, it's just a poor communication, lack of a resistance to simply just, and it takes some vulnerability to do that at times. And I'm guessing that's why it's so difficult for certain people. Penny Tomlinson in the chat bringing up or asking whether or not we covered Kuminga's agent, his tweet last night. And if you missed that, Aaron Turner tweeted this. I'll share my screen so people can see it. It was very, very simple, but this was this was right around the end of the game. Aaron Turner tweeted, "What are we doing out here?" And part of the reason why this correlates directly with me is because right after this, he retweeted my post. If you go to his account, I tweeted out that Kuminga was a huge part of that comeback. Kerr rewarded him with a fourth quarter benching, and the Warriors now trail by 4 with 3:56 to play. And Aaron Turner retweeted that right after. And what Aaron Turner has told me, Rick, regarding communication is that's the entire crux of the issue from his perspective, from what Kuminga tells him is Kerr doesn't talk to him that much. So for example, last night, Kuminga was not told he wasn't going to play in the fourth quarter. Going back to the Pacers game earlier this year when Kuminga was a starter, but his minutes were limited to 20. And I think he was also DNP'd for most, if not all, the fourth quarter. And Kuminga was not told that was going to happen. And sometimes the communication is there, sometimes it's not. And that seems to be from what I gather, from my observation and research skills, that seems to be the crux of the issue is there's just not an open, clear line of communication. And this goes back to even 2023 when Kuminga was first unhappy about his role. I've said he should have communicated with Kerr his unhappiness instead of going public, right?
That door works both ways. I mean,
both ways, it does, yeah.
Knock on the door and I think it's up to the player sometimes. If the coach isn't going to do it, I think it's the coach's responsibility to communicate first and foremost. But the player also has the ability to do that. I mean, I always told my guys, I said, look, this story works both ways, guys. You got an issue and stuff. I said, first of all, I don't ever want to read about it in the newspaper. If you got a problem, you come and talk to me. And let's resolve it here in-house.
Right.
Let's get it figured out. I don't want to read about it in the newspaper. And so, but you also, like I say, I mean, I would think in that situation, I would have gone to Kuminga and tell him why I didn't play him.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's all most of these people want. That's all I've ever wanted. Like our old boss, Bob Agnew. I'm sure you remember him. Little bulldog, right?
Big Bob.
But he always was straight with me. And even when the answer wasn't what I wanted to hear, at least I knew where I stood. And I think that's what most people want.
That's all you want. That's all you can ask for in life is just to be honest. Be honest and let me know what the deal is. You don't necessarily, I don't have to agree, I don't have to like it, or agree with it, but at least I know what the situation is. It's a lot easier to deal with that than it is the unknown. Because the problem with the unknown and why you don't want to have the unknown is because the mind is a strange thing. And the mind can conjure up things that are really way out there that might not necessarily be what is actually going on in the head of the person that you're thinking about. Why is he doing this? And so you want to make sure that that doesn't happen. And that's why you want to communicate to tell them that. And that would be a perfect example. And the same thing, like you say, with a close game, taking the guy who's scoring well and having a good game and everything and yanking him out of the game late in the game. You had to be a reason for doing it. And why would I tell your players, say, hey, I took you out because of this, that, and everything. I said, it didn't work. Obviously, I made a bad choice. Sorry. Man, what can the player say then?
Exactly. I think that's all most of us want. At least a lot of us want in life is just to know where we stand. Even if the person in power just doesn't feel like you're it, just tell the person. It goes a long ways. Rick, I want to play shifting gears here. And side note for the person in the chat bringing up a picture-in-picture. I don't know what you're referencing. I'll research it afterwards. I don't know. Yup Johnson writes, turn on the PIP. I think that means picture-in-picture. I don't know what you're referencing. My apologies, but for future shows, I'll work on it if I can figure out what you're talking about. But Stan Van Gundy, well, actually, before I play this clip, real fast, Rick, if you don't mind indulging me with a personal question that I'll never know, I have the perspective of. In your position, when you're doing the media thing, Rick, because I know the NBA fraternity is very special. There's over the course of the NBA's lifetime, spanning 80 years now, there's what, if 2,000-3,000 of you total in the entire fraternity, living and otherwise?
Not a lot.
Approximately?
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
I don't know the
number. Is it hard for?
But there's not a lot.
It's so when you're in your position and other players who enter the media game, like panelists, for example, on TNT. Well, TNT's don't like ESPN, Prime, stuff like that. Is it hard to criticize two players when they're on opposite sides of a debate? And in this case, more specifically, let's say Steve Kerr and Jonathan Kuminga. Kerr's a former player. Kuminga's a current player. You're well above both of them in terms of all-time rankings and all that stuff. But is it hard for you to toe that line, or do you not care?
Well, I think where the protecting comes from is that coaches are really protective of each other. Coaches don't normally talk about other coaches. They all try to protect each other. Over the years, it's been amazing to me how they're afraid to say something, especially coaches who wind up going into broadcasting. It's rare that a former coach really says something critical about a coach in a game that they're broadcasting with. I just watched that very closely over the years. But if my thing is you have to be honest. I mean, you're not a shill. You're not supposed to be over there only telling good things and doing it. If you think the coach has done something wrong or did something wrong, you should express your opinion about it and say something about it.
Right.
I mean, if it's something that you've seen, it's happened, you comment on that. This is not your speculation about something, which I think a lot of times a lot of guys get into stuff like that they don't know. It's just they're sometimes not very good opinion, that they shouldn't even have an opinion on it, but they have an opinion. An opinion is one thing. A statement about something that's factual that you just saw transpire and happen should be talked about. And if you don't believe in what they're doing, like that was not a good timeout in that situation. If you really believe that as a broadcaster, you should say that. You should say that. Now, the one thing I will say when I remember broadcasting one time is that if you're not in the huddle hearing exactly what the coach said, you can't surmise that when the team comes out and they do something, that was a terrible play in that situation after a timeout. Well, it may not be what the coach told him to do. Okay. Right. They may have done something totally different. I mean, seriously. So you don't know. So in that one, that's the thing I would say. I said, well, if this is what the coach told them to do, that was not a good decision. I said, but however, I know for a fact, having played what the coach told us, and we went out there and I'm going to my teammates, what the hell are you doing? That's not what he told us to do.
Well, speaking of former NBA coaches, I'd love to get your thoughts on this clip. And we have you for about 10 more minutes here. Stan Van Gundy was on a podcast with Zach Lowe. He's a longtime NBA analyst, former lawyer, interestingly enough. And he had, and this kind of took me aback. I don't know if you feel the same way, but it's a 58 seconds in length. It's short. But Stan Van Gundy compared players of your era versus the modern athlete And he thinks there's a difference there. And I strongly disagree, and I'm curious to know your thoughts on this. But here's Stan Van Gundy talking about different eras in basketball.
My son says this all the time about every sport. He's more of a baseball guy, right? He goes, I understand the thought that you compare players to how well they did in the era they played in. But the evolution of athletes is, we can probably say that the best 20 basketball players in history have probably played in the last 20 years, Zach. Those other guys are great, but if you took them for what they were in their time and dropped them in today's game, a lot of those guys couldn't even get in the league. And I'm talking about some guys who are in the top 75 all time. And I don't say that to disparage people. We evolve over time. Athletes are getting better. How can you look at a sport like track and field or swimming and see that the times keep improving and think in our sport players don't continue to get better and better?
Your thoughts, sir?
Okay. Yeah, it's simple. He didn't really analyze it properly and understand. I hear this shit all the time. You know, Rick, yes, you guys would have a hard time playing with these guys today. The reality of it is, if all the guys that were such great players that I played with then, like Stan was saying there, and just dropped them in here, no, that's ridiculous. Because if we were dropped us here and let us have the training that these guys have, we would all be way better even than we were back then. We would be better players than the guys today because we understood the game and had to utilize our talents way better than a lot of these guys do. But we had no training. When I came in the league, Cyrus, I had nothing.
Right.
Not
right.
Did the team do to help me become better? Not one thing. I had no strength coach, no agility coach, no dietitian. I had nothing. I'd be faster, stronger, quicker, more endurance, jump higher. I'd be so much better a basketball player today than I was back in my day. So what you have to stop doing, stop comparing eras. Take the era and then stop this GOAT bullshit, because there's no such thing as a GOAT in a team sport. Back when I played, the GOAT was the guy that screwed up. Okay, now it's the greatest of all time. There is no GOAT in a team sport. It's by position. So take the era, take the players who are the great players in that era, and compare the guards to the guards, the ones to the twos to the twos, the threes to the threes, the fours to the fours, the fives to the fives. And then have a really intelligent conversation about who was the best at those positions during that era. And stop this garbage about comparing stuff from 40, 50, 20 years ago. Just do it within eras and within position. This would be in baseball, the analogy. So am I going to compare my boyhood hero, Willie Mays, to Sandy Koufax? That would be insane, right? A pitcher to a center fielder, or a first baseman to a center fielder, a shortstop to a left fielder. It makes no sense. It has to be by position. That's the intelligent way to do it, and yet nobody does it. And I get sick and tired of listening to this thing about who's the GOAT. You know, is this one better? And especially in different eras, comparing the different eras. It's worthless talking, means nothing, and they don't know what they're talking about.
And Rick, I think that when I hear opinions like that, what I think I'm hearing, and maybe I'm off on this, is that human beings are evolving before our eyes. Like every new generation is just increasing in height and look, in certain demographics, there might be like very slight pieces of evidence that may or may not substantiate that, but that's the bullshit part of it to me. And I think that's what Stan Van Gundy is trying to say there, is that the human being born in, let's say, 2000 is somehow a superior human being to one born in 1950. Am I misrepresenting that? Or is that what you're getting as well?
I think there's certain things from a physiological standpoint that may be a little bit better, but the bottom reality of it is that take all of the players from the past and put them in today's world and give them what the technology is to train for the sport that they're involved in. And every one of the old ones would be maybe they would be way better than what they were then. And if you're thinking they were better then than they are now, well, hell, they'd be even a lot better than now than they were back then, without question. Right. There's no doubt in my mind I just think of how much better I would be, stronger. I just got done saying it. I mean, I would love to have a way to do that, to go ahead, let me be 25 years old, okay, or even 30 years old. Let me be 30 years old and have years of training with the technology that exists today, and then compare me to the way I played before. I would be better.
And he brought up the swimmers and the track. Like last I checked, the mile, that record is not routinely being broken, right? I think that the mile record has been the mile record, the marathon records, like some records are not being broken that often. And the ones that are being broken consistently in swimming and track, again, if the athletes 50 years ago had the knowledge, the information, the technology that helps these athletes in the modern era, who knows, right?
Cyrus, now here's the deal. What sport are you playing? What position are you playing in that sport? And the training is geared to that sport and that position in order to help them become better in so many different areas. It's so sport specific and so finite. It's unbelievable how sophisticated it is and what they're able to do with today's knowledge. And it's going to get even better with AI. It's going to be crazy. As I said, I had nothing. The only thing I ever got, my last year, I started in 65. My last year was 1980 with the Rockets, right? That's when they came out, Nautilus came out and had something where there's a machine to do something. I had nothing. You either go and you lift it on your own or you didn't do it. You knew nothing about it. I had no idea about lifting. Now they got the kids in high school are lifting, right? You go to college. My skinny sons, my sons who play ball, they're all skinny little runts like I was growing up. They went off to college. My son Kenyon, I remember, because even he's the youngest of all of them. He came back when he went to college. He came back and I went to give him a hug and I said, "Oh my God!" He was like unbelievable, bulked up. I mean, this is my skinny little son. Why? Because they have all this sophistication and all of this training available to them. So, you just can't take them and drop them in there. No. But the thing is, put them in there and have them think they would be way better. So you can't say, and you're just stupid to compare eras. It just makes no sense.
Well, and I don't know if Julian Bashir, who normally comes in with good takes and with some loyalty here, but I don't know if he's rage baiting with this post saying Wilt Chamberlain is not even better than JaVale McGee, and that JaVale McGee in the 60s would thrive. What are your thoughts on that? Is JaVale McGee in the same conversation as Wilt Chamberlain? You're not taking the bait?
Oh. No, it's ridiculous. I mean, first of all, you don't compare anybody to Wilt. I mean, if Wilt was playing today with the sophistication that they have, as strong and powerful and stuff as he was, it'd be stupid how much better he would be. And he was ridiculous anyway. I mean, I don't think people understand. The man, they talk about, oh, what a good rebounder this guy is, blah, blah, Dennis Rodman, and so-and-so, and this guy and that guy. 22.5 rebounds per game back when he played. Now, I know they didn't have the great shooters, many great shooters and whatever it is, but still 22.5 rebounds is insane. 50 points a game average for an NBA season. One season averaged over 48 minutes a game. I mean, never fouled out of a game. The guy did things that are just crazy. I mean, absolutely.
Well, and Rick, just to get perspective for the younger folks who never witnessed Wilt playing, you witnessed both of them. You saw with your own eyes. Hell, you played against Wilt Chamberlain. You saw with your own eyes JaVale McGee playing. Is JaVale McGee in Wilt's level? Are they in the same ballpark physically speaking?
No.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Anything against JaVale McGee? I mean, he's a good enough player to play in the NBA. God bless him. Made millions of dollars. Good for him. I'm happy for him. I know his mom is happy for him too, because they were great players. His mom was a great player. But yeah, I mean, it's silly. And then even talking about the fact that some of the other centers, he was greater than Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, I think I remember it was Kendrick Perkins, who was, just a player in the NBA.
He says a lot of
special. Well, nothing special, but I think he picked the team, picked his top 5 centers. I think he's picked his top 5 centers and he didn't have Wilt listed. I mean, he should have been fired. I mean, how can you not have Wilt listed in your top 5 players? I mean, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Centers of all time. What you do, again, go back to the eras. Pick who the best center was in that era as that position. Now, there would be a big debate about it, and I played with both of them, knew both of them well. Wilt and Bill Russell. Okay? Well, all around skills and talents and things that you can do as a basketball player, you can't pick Bill Russell over Wilt Chamberlain. But you can pick Bill Russell over as far as having the impact on his team and helping his team achieve great success. But when Wilt had the great players around him, he had one of the greatest teams ever. It was a 67 team that we lost to the Philadelphia 76ers when Wilt was surrounded with great players. Even at the end of his career, when he got with West and Baylor and Goodrich and those guys, 33 games a road they won at the end of his career. I mean, just imagine what this guy would have been like if he was playing today and had all of this available to him. He was an incredible physical specimen, incredibly strong, and incredibly gifted. I mean, he ran some ridiculous low number in the 440s. He high jumped over 7 feet tall. I mean, he was just an amazing athlete back in his day. And so if he were playing today, he would be even better than he was back in those days. So yeah, I just don't understand how. I don't know how Stan could even say the top 20 would be modern players. I mean, come on. Some of the things that I still have records that I didn't even knew about because now with all these statistics stuff, I just got another one the other day somebody sent me that I didn't know. And so if I have these records from back in the 60s, okay, at late 60s or 70s, and they're holding up now 50 freaking years later, how can you say that I'm not one of the better players in the game? And, and I didn't have all this other stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous what he's saying.
I love when the postseason rolls around, Rick, because I feel like the vast majority of the records you still hold are postseason marks. So when the playoffs come around, your name is, I feel like it's a daily occurrence. We see you on these lists and you're always like right at the top or near the top. It's awesome, badass shit, sir. Respect to you for that. I know you got to.
The last one somebody sent me is that I am, other than Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain scored 2 games of 58 points in his rookie year, had 2 58-point games. You know who's second? Me. All time. 57 points as a rookie. Okay. So if I got 57 as a rookie, what would I do when I was a better player when I was 30 years old? What could I have done? And if I had the 3-point shot, how many points would I have scored? Would have been a hell of a lot more than 57. I can tell you that.
No disagreement. Before you go, sir, we got some paid chats really quickly. Just a few of them. And I think two people. One, just a comment, something that this individual, Brooklyn No Opinion, writing, did the rookie Will Richard get the start over Kuminga? Yes. And Steve Kerr has also said publicly that Kuminga can earn the starting job back, using the keyword earn, and used Moses Moody as an example of earning that position back. We shall see. Also, another $1.99 donation from Brooklyn No Opinion asking, Rick, I don't know if you've been following this, Draymond Green and Kenyon Martin having some back and forth in the media game. Basically, Kenyon Martin started this by saying that Draymond Green, if he talked the way he did in the early 2000s during Kenyon Martin's peak era, that it would have been a different story, meaning more players would have probably pushed back. There would have been more physical altercations. And then it's turned into this back and forth where Kenyon Martin and Draymond Green are basically trying to disrespect each other. Have you been following that at all? Any thoughts?
No, it's a waste of freaking time. I mean, who really cares? I mean, what significance is that in the scheme of things in life and basketball in general? I mean, again, we're getting to people from different eras and starting to compare them. You're not in a different era. Talk about the people in this era. Stop bringing up the comparison to the people from that era. I mean, just stop it. It makes no sense logically. It just doesn't make any sense to talk about things that they're not comparable. It's just stop it, please. I wish these people would just stop it. But it's the talking heads that drive me nuts that are the ones that constantly are doing this and bringing it up, especially with the GOAT and this and that. What's going to be interesting to see is going to be somebody's doing that's actually doing a documentary on me that is going to be doing something.
Yes, doing one. I met some of the producers. Yeah,
he's doing one comparing Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. Now these guys played against each other, somewhat a little bit, but that's an interesting thing to see what these guys can do if they're close enough to see what it might be. But even then, unless it's the same era, it doesn't make any sense to make the comparison. It really doesn't. So comparing Magic Johnson to Steph Curry is crazy. Like I told people, if I had to play and I had to have 4 guys to play with and play against any other 4 players, with all of us having the same training and all the other stuff that I just talked about, and we're playing with the 3-point shot, as much as I love Magic Johnson, as amazing as Magic Johnson was as a player, and as much as I would love to have played with Magic Johnson, if I'm playing the game and I only can take 4 people in different positions, I'm taking Steph Curry. With the 3-point shot, I have to have Steph Curry.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. OMG Manny, thank you for being Golden Dazer for 9 months and counting. Just saying hello, thanking us for the early show, and dropping a $1.99, saying Rick, you don't have to comment on this one. Just saying trade Steve Kerr and Brandon Podziemski for Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't think the salary cap would let that trade work, but thank you for that. Rick, anything you want to promote before we go? The holidays are here. If you go on our YouTube channel, we've got some great swag, including Rick Barry jersey tees. Available on our online merch store. Click on this QR code right here above, right next to my head, to check that out. It's also, again, right on our YouTube page. But Rick, I know you're part of a lot of different endeavors. Promote away, sir, before we say goodbye.
Well, of course, medicilleaf.com, medicileaf.com. I think they're making a whole change to the site, but if it doesn't work now, it will work. The code RB24, small RB24, to get a discount, but we're coming up with some new products and stuff there. So if you go there and you like something and the RB24 code doesn't work, just go back and try it again. They're in the process of making sure that code works again. But I have an interesting one doing it. I'm into the world of pickleball now. I've switched courts from the basketball court to the pickleball court. Daily, daily-travels.com. Daily-travels.com. I'm hosting a pickleball cruise where we actually have a place on the ship to play pickleball while we're cruising, going down out of LA to Cabo San Lucas. And then we're going to have a tournament and play and all the stuff at the Los Cabos Pickleball Club down there for a couple of days before we cruise back. So it's just going to be an incredible thing with great accommodations, amazing ship on Royal Caribbean. So if you go to dailey-travels.com, check it out. They're running a special here for a discounted price to be able to win. There's only going to be 16 spots available. So it's going to be pretty cool because on most cruises, they don't have a pickleball court worth anything, and you can't actually play when you're cruising. But this is an enclosed stop on top of the ship, so it's pretty unique.
That's awesome. And are you still involved with Titan Pickleball?
Yeah, Titan Pickleball. Of course, if you go to titanpickleball.com, thanks for bringing that one up. That's the new paddle that I'm using. Fabulous. In fact, I'm getting ready to go play in the U.S. Senior Championships this weekend. And I have a lady I've been trying to get to play with for 9 years, who's maybe one of the best 75-year-old players that I've ever seen. She's so athletic, and also hopefully will come away with a gold medal this weekend. And Titan Pickleball, you go to RBTP 24, RBTP for Titan Pickleball 24. And you get a nice discount on their paddles. Fabulous, fabulous stuff for power control. Just really good paddles. You put a lot of spin on the ball as well. And I've been using that and won a lot of championships with it. So you can check that out if you want.
Fastest growing sport in the country,
sleeves,
correct?
Go Sleeves is the other one. I mean, these are incredible stuff. Sleeves for your knees and your Achilles and the calf and the elbow. And check it out. GoSleeves.com. And that's the code is RB24 for that, RB24. Amazing product. Everybody that I told about that's used it comes back and said, Rick's the best thing I've ever gotten.
Amazing. And people can typically watch your pickleball matches on your Instagram account.
Sometimes I did it when I did my guy. My guy would come down there and put him on Instagram and have him be live, and he was follow me around and watch me play some of my matches. And Randall, the producer, does a lot of cool stuff. If I were younger, Randall would be great to have. I would have him doing my social media stuff, and that would be a fun thing. I would, get out there, but he's not going to be at this because he lives up in the Pacific Northwest, and I'm doing this in the northern part of Florida. So it's crazy for him to come all the way up there to do that. But looking forward to it. Trying to get another Triple Crown.
And good luck with that. And I know you post updates regularly on your Instagram account at Rick24Barry, the same handle for all your social media. And again, it was so great to see you last week. I know I met some of your producers working on the documentary. Is there a title for that yet?
No, not that I know of. No.
So unnamed at this point, but I'm definitely looking forward to that. Some final chats. Let me see if there's a Roy and Caribbean. Pickleball from Ronald McPaul saying that sounds awesome. A question: is it possible to get Giannis? Anything's possible. Who knows? It is like logistically possible if that's what you're asking. But look, the Warriors aren't going to be the only team that's pursuing him. So who knows what the asking price is? Who knows where Giannis wants to go? That's the beauty of the NBA, Rick. It's never ending. It's just a story.
This is what you live by if you're an NBA fan. Always expect the unexpected.
There you go. Wise words. Rick, thank you, sir. Any final thoughts? Are we good? We done?
I just hope everybody had a blessed and wonderful holiday for Thanksgiving. And we have upcoming holidays coming up. There's a lot of different things that people are going to be celebrating, a lot of Jewish holidays as well, Kwanzaa, whatever it may be. So enjoy the holidays, whatever you're celebrating. More importantly than anything else, I wish everybody good health. I mean, that's the key to life, is hopefully to stay healthy. And then that way, it's hard not to be grateful if you have your health. And so hopefully everybody will have good health and enjoy the holiday season.
Yes, sir. Rick, thank you as always, sir. It's an absolute pleasure. Thanks to everyone. We're back tomorrow night. Warriors 76ers post game. De'Anthony Melton makes his debut. Thanks, Rick. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.